On this episode of Left Off the Map, it's Taco Tuesday again, and we're going to start with a fried chicken tostada. Then Henry Terry is heading to the Freycinet Marine Farm on the east coast of Tasmania to learn a little about marine farming. Then back in the kitchen, we'll finish off with another Mexican recipe. But first, we're going to start Taco Tuesday with one of my favourite Mexican dishes, a tostada. It's Taco Tuesday again today on Left Off the Map, and through my travels in Mexico, the thing that I probably enjoyed eating most were tostadas. You don't see them a lot here in Australia, but they're very simple to make and very yummy. A tostada is basically an edible plate. It's a really large corn chip. We're going to make those by taking our white corn tortillas out of the packaging, and then I'm going to just roast them in the oven to crisp them up. So we'll take these out. You can do these with flour ones, but I think the corn ones turn out better. So we'll pop these onto a roasting tray. I've got a little bit of oil in here that I'm going to fry with later when we make our fried chicken. So we're doing a fried chicken tostada, and I'm going to do basically an avocado smash to go with it. So we'll lay our tortillas down, turn my oven on to 180. And then I just want to brush a little bit of oil on these tortillas. And that'll just help them crisp up in the oven. And like I said, you end up, especially with the corn ones, you end up basically with a big corn chip. And then on top of that corn chip, we're going to put our smashed avocado and our fried chicken. We're doing basically chicken schnitzels, just little versions of chicken schnitzels to go on top. All right, so we've brushed one side, just turn them over and brush the other side, then into our oven. And then I'm going to start preparing my salsa. My salsa, like I said, is going to be a smashed avocado. So I've got an avocado there, which I'll dice and pop into a bowl and sort of just smash that with the back of a spoon. Then I've got some capsicum, just a capsicum cheek, which I'll dice up, some cucumber, which I'll dice up, some tomatoes, some cherry tomatoes, which I'll dice. And then I'm going to pop my corn directly over the flame on the hob. I'm going to char that and then cut those kernels off and pop that through my salsa, some lime juice, smash it all up, and you're left with a really sort of chunky guacamole type thing. So they can go into the oven. And they will crisp up, and now I can get onto my salsa. Now, if you don't have a gas hob or a blowtorch at home, you can just rub this with a little bit of oil and put it under the grill, and you get the same effect of that charred flavour. So we'll sit that there, just allow it to cool before I carve some of that off and put into our salsa. Now, while that's cooling, I can get my chicken ready. So I'm just going to egg or flour, egg and breadcrumb the chicken. So the flour onto the chicken first so that the egg's got something to stick to. Then the egg wash into the breadcrumbs will stick to the egg, and then we can fry it off. So I've got chicken breast. Just want to cut strips of that, about 1 centimetre thick. All right, so there's our chicken all cut up. Now we just need to put it in the flour. It's just seasoned flour, simple. Toss it over till it's nicely coated. Then, like I said, the egg wash, which is just eggs, a couple of eggs whisked together, has got something to stick to. And then into our breadcrumbs, and then we're ready to fry. I've taken the tortillas out, which are now tostadas. They will be, when they come out, they'll feel pliable, but as they cool, they'll harden up. So you end up having a crack, which is what you want. It's like I said, a big corn chip, which is what you're after. So now we can build our tostada. We've got our smashed salsa. Pop some of that down. Some of our fried chicken, our chicken schnitzel on top of that. And then I just went out and picked some coriander from the garden. Place on top. And you could, if you wanted to, you could put, you get some creme fraiche or some sour cream, mix it with some lime juice and drizzle on top. But that reminds me, it's got all the wonderful things, all the different types of ingredients that we had to choose from in Mexico. The fried chicken, which Australians love fried chicken, we love schnitzels. So it's a schnitzel tostada, really, fried chicken tostada. Give it a go, try tostadas, they are really, really, really yummy. Like I said, it's just an edible plate. You can eat it like so, like you would sort of like a burger if you wanted to. So by sort of holding onto it and crunching on it that way. Or, like I said before, you can eat all the ingredients off the top. You can slice that chicken up, put it on top, eat all the ingredients, then you've got this corn chip that's been sort of soaked in all that lovely yumminess to eat at the end and no washing up because you've just eaten your plate. Give it a go and see what you think.
Giles, what a spot, Freycinet Marine Farm. This is your office.
This is our office, Henry. Yeah, look, thank you. No, we really like it here. We've been here 16 years and we try our hardest never to take it for granted because it's a pretty special view.
It's magic, absolutely magic. And it almost goes without saying it's pristine, middle of the East Coast, and you're growing oysters and mussels here?
We are, yeah. We've got about 3.5 million oysters and about 100 or so tonnes of mussels.
How do you count out 3.5 million oysters?
Slowly, painstakingly. Yeah, no, we're very small little hands. Yeah. There we go.
I can only imagine. So, growing oysters and mussels, I mean, the clean environment for a filter feeder like this, I'm assuming, is really important.
It is. It's everything. You know, again, 16 years ago when we decided the crazy idea of starting an oyster farm, really all we looked for was a pristine environment, and it's never changed. Really, if you've got clean water and the reputation of Tasmania, you can do anything. The world's your oyster.
Oh. Not bad. So 16 years ago you started, and so the primary reason was purely environmental. This is that was your number one concern.
It was really, and we were living in Strawn. I was in the salmon industry there. Loved the community of Strawn. Loved the outdoor lifestyle that afforded us. We felt we could replicate that here with maybe slightly more sunshine. And luckily the previous owner of this farm was ready for retirement. So she put it up for sale.
Amazing.
And the rest is history.
Away you go. So the difference between salmon farming and this is you're farming oysters, and when I think of farming, you sort of think of domesticated, fed animals. Whereas oysters and mussels, they're still growing in the natural environment, aren't they?
It is. It's funnily enough, I sort of hesitate to use domesticated, but we put a lot of effort into the breeding of our oysters.
Okay.
We the industry, look for that perfect shape, that lovely meat to shell ratio, colour of the shell. There's a lot of thought goes into it. In the breeding and then in the hatchery, but after that, absolutely, they are just part of the natural environment. So we don't feed them, we don't do anything to them apart from ensure they've got a clean house, and access to water currents.
What a beautiful way to farm, where you can sort of, do your bit with the breeding and sort of let them go and let nature do it.
It's really nice. I've got to say, it's one of the things that attracted it to me very strongly. It's, we use no chemicals at any stage in the operation. We don't have organic status for the farm, but it's completely organic anyway. And mussels even more so. The first time we touch a mussel is the day we harvest it.
Incredible.
So, yeah, they're really wonderful.
So with oysters and mussels, what is their food? If they're in the water column, there's algae going past, what exactly are they feeding?
They will feed on whatever is going past. You've hit the nail on the head perfectly. Absolutely,
Cool.
they're non-discriminatory feeders. So, and again, therefore, you need to have a really clean environment because they'll eat good things as well as bad things.
Okay.
So, the upshot of that on a global scale, you can use oysters to clean up water environments. There you go. So they will filter out bad things out of a water column. Say, for example, around Staten Island or on the Pacific North Coast in Canada, they're actually used to take out contaminants. Now, you wouldn't eat those, but it sort of illustrates that they can do remarkable things for environments.
Amazing. So you've set up an oyster farm in a pristine environment, and you're actually helping it along by producing an amazing product that we all get to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's really nice. Oh, I sleep well at night, Henry.
Go change a tack.
Go on.
This thing.
Yeah. Brand new.
Brand spanking new.
Been here for weeks.
What did you call that? Mint condition?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. God, I'd hate to see the mint. Yeah, look, she will go the very minute that you turn the key if you want. We don't really use her that much now.
But it still gets you.
Yeah.
So you're high tech here.
Yep,
at the farm.
we are high tech. That's right.
Cutting edge.
So late 50s Fordson. The wonderful thing, my father, when he was just a couple of years younger, would still help us on the farm here.
Okay.
And you could ask that man anything about this. Even now, in his retirement in Sandy Bay in his 80s, I can ring him up and say, what's the fourth bolt on the left? He'll know exactly what it is, and he can fix it exactly. So the old farmer, being my father, had a couple of these on the farm when he was young. So it sort of feels multi-generational.
Oh my God, it's an impressive specimen, that's for sure. It's got some character.
It has. It has.
So, Giles, where can you... it's my understanding that you can get these oysters, you're sort of limited to Tassie because there's only so much you can produce. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. We do have some wholesale markets on the mainland, but they get dropped pretty quickly through the season when our own eateries are up and running. So, we've been fortunate enough to sort of follow that idea of downstream processing. So we've got the cafe up on the Coles Bay Road and also the eatery up at the Devil's Corner Vineyard.
Okay.
So, pretty much everything we produce on the farm goes through those two sites and kind of nowhere else.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So you harvest them here, ship them 100 metres up the road and away you go.
That's right. So the stuff that was coming off the boat when we first drove down here will be sitting hopefully on the plates of happy customers inside the hour.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Amazing. It's pretty nice, low food miles.
Yeah. Well, I might have to do some miles and
do that.
Get some food in.
Well done, you.
Thanks very much for your time.
Pleasure, mate.
I've just got some tinned corn kernels. You can get corn on the cob and you can blacken it directly over the gas. But for people who don't have a gas hob at home, I'm going to show you how you can do it in a pan. So these are just tinned corn kernels. That's hard to say. I need a little bit of oil in my pan. And corn blackens on the outside, but still tastes fantastic. So you can actually push corn until it's really quite black on the outside and it will still taste good. Pan on. And just pop my corn kernels in on top. And they'll just cook away until they start to get some colour. So we want them all nicely coloured from sort of dark brown through to black. So I'll let that sit there. It's going to take a little while for the moisture just to evaporate off and then for it to start to cook the corn. So we've probably got about 10 minutes while that does that. While I'm waiting for that corn to start to blacken, I'm going to make up a little pickle to go. I'm going to pickle some chilies. It allows you to eat chili and have the chili not be quite as hot when you pickle it. So I'm going to pickle some chilies. I've got about 2 tablespoons of sugar, so not a lot. About the same amount of vinegar. And then I just need a splash of water. Pop that on the heat as well. Just want to add some heat to that until it comes to the boil, then turn it off. And while I wait, I'll chop up my chilies. And then once I turn that off, once the heat goes out of it and it stops boiling, I'm going to put my chilies in there. So just cut these into rounds. And it's the combination, well, it's mainly the vinegar that softens the heat out of the chili, but the sugar counteracts the vinegar in creating more of a sweet and sour mix, so it's more edible than just vinegar would be, which is why you add the sugar to the pickle. The 3 chilies, and I'm just going to do a lime juice pickle for our shallots. Again, it will soften the shallots and it will take away that astringent flavour that raw shallots can sometimes have. So I'm going to slice these finally as well, and then add the juice of a couple of limes on top of that, just scrunch them up, and that acid in the lime juice will start to cook the shallot and soften it and make it more palatable in our salad. Just want to cut these shallots nice and fine. Right, we're starting to get some colour on that corn. My pickle's starting to boil. I've got my limes. Cut them. My juice in a bowl. So that was a pretty juicy lime. So pop our shallots in there with that lime juice mixture. Salt on top. Probably half the lime more, just on top of that. I'm just going to let that sit there for about 5 minutes. My pickle I can turn off. Add my chilies in there. And now everything's just got to sit for about 5 minutes. Corn's all nice and done, so you can see there's a good amount of colour on that. You could push it a little bit further if you wanted to, but that's good enough for me. So I'll pop that into a bowl. And that lime juice I'm going to keep as part of my dressing. So I'm going to mix that with a little bit of, you can use creme fraiche or sour cream or something like that. Pinch of salt in with my corn. My shallots can go in with my juice. Sour cream, creme fraiche. This is one of those dishes that really reminds me of Mexican food. The lime, the shallot, the corn, the sour cream. Mix that in. That was probably about 2 tablespoons. My chilies. Now these will have, like I said, they won't be as hot as they would normally be, but they're still going to be they're still going to have a little bit of bite. The longer they sit in this pickle, the better they will get. So I'm just going to take probably enough for 1.5 chilies, 1 chili to 1.5 chilies. And the rest you can just put into a bowl and let them sit in that pickle for a bit longer. And then my coriander. Decent bunch of coriander here. So I'm just going to chop roughly about half a bunch. Everything going into this is Mexican. A bunch of fresh coriander. Mix all that in. I just want to give that a taste. See if I've got, really I'm looking for salt and acid, two things. It's going to have lots of flavour, I know that. Just want to make sure I've got it well seasoned. Salt. There's enough acid there from that pickle and that lime juice. I just needed that little pinch of salt. Bowl. And that is a fantastic, yummy little side salsa. If you like pickled food, like I do, you'll love it. And very versatile, like I said. A piece of fish, that, really healthy too, really good for you. But a yummy, fresh, versatile dish to have up your sleeve for whenever you want to come up with something quick in summer.